I was 9 years old when I overheard the words that shattered my world, hiding behind the beaded curtain in our Oakland apartment, my breath caught like a fish in a net. "Make sure Jada's will disappears, Nathan," Lauren Pierce's voice hissed, cold as the San Francisco Bay fog, her manicured nails tapping a folder on our kitchen table. "Her legacy's too valuable to stay in their hands." My stepdad, Nathan Brooks, a black tech CEO, slumped in his chair, exhaustion carving lines into his face. "I can't even look at her papers yet, Lauren. It's only been 5 months. My heart twisted at the mention of Mama, Jada Miles, a black playwright whose stories of resistance lit up Oakland's theaters until a hit-and-run in West Oakland stole her away. Lauren, a white venture capitalist with a smile sharper than a blade, leaned closer, her eyes glinting like she'd spotted a prize. "Don't let her touch Mama's will," I whispered, clutching the braided bracelet Mama made me, its beads clicking softly. I'd only snuck out for a snack, but now I was trapped, hearing a plot that screamed danger, and I knew I had to act, because even a kid like me could see Lauren was after more than sympathy. She wanted to erase Mama's name, just like the whispers in our Fruitvale neighborhood that said a black kid like me didn't belong with a stepdad who acted white. I'd caught those words at the corner store, folks muttering, "Khalil ain't really his, right?" And Nathan would grip my hand, his jaw tight, but he stayed quiet, not like Mama, who'd fire back with words that burned. Mama's death left our apartment feeling like a stage without lights. Nathan tried to keep the show going, coding late at his startup and helping me with homework, but grief weighed him down, and Lauren, his investor, kept showing up with takeout and fake concern, saying, "I'm here for you both." But when Nathan turned away, her warmth vanished, her green eyes slicing through me like I was a script she wanted to rewrite. "Your mama would want you to grow up strong," she told me once, her tone more threat than kindness, and I felt it. She resented me, resented Mama's legacy. I started a memory box, inspired by Mama's habit of saving playbills, filling it with sketches of Lauren's sneaky glances and notes about every time she moved Mama's things, like the poster for her award-winning play, Freedom's Echo, that used to hang in our living room but now leaned against a closet wall. "Helping Nathan move on," Lauren called it, but I wrote in my box, "She's burying Mama's story," because I saw her tuck away Mama's theater awards, the one celebrating her voice for Black Oakland. School was no refuge. At Fruitvale Elementary, I was the odd kid out, my stepdad's tech money setting me apart from classmates whose families scraped by. During lunch, a boy named Marcus, whose dad worked at Nathan's company, sneered, "My dad says your stepdad's forgetting your mom already. Bet he sells her plays soon." His words hit like a slap, and I moved to the playground's edge, swallowing tears, refusing to break. But Ms. Amara Hayes, my art teacher, a black woman with a smile like Mama's, found me. "Rough day, Khalil?" she asked, her eyes soft but knowing. When I nodded, she said, "My art room's open after school. We're starting a mural project for the community." I joined her mural club, painting stories of Oakland's black heroes, and it felt like Mama was guiding my brush. I told Ms. Amara about Lauren, how she was changing our home, and she listened, her nod saying she believed me, not like grown-ups who dismiss kids as too young to get it. My grandma, Lena Miles, was my anchor. She came over weekly, bringing cornbread and tales of Mama's first plays at Laney College, how she fought to get black stories on stage despite folks saying they wouldn't sell. "Your mama was a truth weaver," Lena said, tying my braids, her hand steady. "That's your gift, too." She didn't trust Lauren, especially when the woman hinted Nathan should limit Lena's visits, for stability. "That woman's got no place in Jada's home," Lena muttered, her eyes fierce. But the neighborhood's gossip stung, folks at the BART station whispering, "Nathan's kid don't look like him," like my blackness was a puzzle they needed to solve. I wanted to shout I was Mama's son, but I stayed quiet, pouring it into my memory box, sketching their faces, because Mama taught me truth starts with watching. One night, sleep wouldn't come, my dreams full of Mama's plays fading to black. I crept to the kitchen and saw Lauren photographing Mama's scripts, her face all triumph, like she'd stolen a secret. My stomach nodded, and I backed away, beads clicking, knowing I had to fight. The next morning, when Nathan said Lauren would organize Mama's estate, a fire lit inside me, Mama's courage flowing through. I added to my box, writing, "Why is she touching Mama's scripts?" And started snapping photos of every award Lauren hid. I didn't know her full plan, but my gut, keen like Mama's, screamed she was after Mama's plays, worth millions now, like the way investors undervalued Mama's work, saying black stories weren't universal. I'd overheard Nathan defending her once, how she fought for funding, and now Lauren was here, acting like she could rewrite Mama's legacy. My memory box was my rebellion, every sketch a vow to Mama. I drew Lauren's cold stares, noted her words, and felt stronger with each entry, like I was keeping Mama's stage lit. Lena's stories, MS. Amara's belief, they held me up, but fear crept in, because Lauren's eyes tracked me now, like she sensed my watching. I didn't have the whole script yet, but I knew she was plotting something big, something that was ours. I whispered to my bracelet, "I won't let her steal you, Mama," and in that quiet Oakland night, I swore I'd protect our story, even if I was just a kid against her shadow. Lauren Pierce's shadow grew longer in our Oakland apartment, her presence creeping into every corner like ivy strangling a tree. By September, her visits were a daily ritual, her high heels clicking on our linoleum floor as she brought stacks of papers or takeout boxes, her smile as polished as the glass towers in San Francisco's financial district. Nathan, my stepdad, leaned into her help, his eyes heavy from late nights coding at his startup, trying to keep Mama's dream of tech for black communities alive. "You're carrying too much, Nathan," Lauren said one evening, her hand brushing his shoulder, her voice dripping with concern that felt rehearsed. I watched from the hallway, my braided bracelet clicking softly, and scribbled in my memory box, "She's acting like she owns him." Lauren's kindness was a mask, and I saw it slip when Nathan wasn't looking, her green eyes turned sharp, her lips curling when she glanced at me, like I was a line in Mama's script she wanted to cut. "Your braids are bold, Khalil," she said once, alone in the kitchen, her tone suggesting they were too bold, too black for her liking. "Maybe a shorter style for school pictures." My stomach twisted. Mama loved my braids, calling them a map of our ancestors, and Lauren's words felt like she was trying to erase that map, just like the whispers at the Fruitvale BART station that said I didn't fit with Nathan, a black man who talked white because he ran a tech company. I wrote in my box, "She hates who we are," because I noticed how she moved Mama's playbills, the ones for Freedom's Echo, from our bookshelf to a drawer, claiming, "We're making space for new memories." But I knew she was burying Mama's voice, the one that filled Oakland's theaters with stories of black resilience. Lauren's control tightened like a noose. She started hosting dinners for Nathan's investors, all white men in suits who talked about scaling his startup but never mentioned Mama's vision of tech for Oakland's kids. Mama's black theater friends, like Ms. Tanya Reid, who directed her plays, stopped getting invites, their laughter replaced by corporate jargon. I overheard Lauren redirect Nathan when he mentioned Mama's community coding camps, saying, "Let's focus on profitable projects, Nathan." It felt like the tech world's bias against black ideas, the kind Mama fought when investors scoffed at her plays for being too niche. I snapped photos of the empty bookshelf, texting them to Ms. Amara Hayes, my art teacher, who'd become my confidant at Fruitvale Elementary. "She's pushing Mama out," I told her during our mural club, where we painted heroes like Huey Newton on a community center wall. Ms. Amara's eyes narrowed, her brush pausing. "Your Mama's work mattered, Khalil. Keep watching." Her belief fueled me, and I started sketching Lauren's dinners in my box, noting every guest, every time she silenced Nathan's stories about Mama. The mural club was my haven, where I painted Mama's face into the design, her smile bold against the concrete, and MS. Amara taught us to use art as protest, like the Black Panthers did. I poured my anger into each stroke, feeling Mama's courage in my hands. School was a battlefield. Marcus, the kid whose dad worked for Nathan, kept taunting me at recess, saying, my dad says Lauren's running your house now. Bet she sells your mom's plays to Hollywood. His words cut deep, like the gentrification signs popping up in Fruitvale, promising new beginnings that pushed black families out. I retreated to the mural wall, painting alone, until Ms. Amara invited me to a new theater workshop she'd started with Ms. Tanya, reviving Mama's plays for kids. Your Mama's stories belong on stage, Ms. Tanya said, her voice warm like Mama's. The workshop was a spark, a place to read freedom's echo aloud, and I felt Mama's words lift me, but it also made me notice Lauren's moves more. She suggested I join a better school in Piedmont, a wealthier, whiter area 5 miles away, saying, "You'd thrive there, Khalil." I knew what she meant, away from Fruitvale's black heart, away from Mama's roots. I told Lena, my grandma, who came over with okra stew and fury. "That woman's trying to uproot you," Lena said, her hands braiding my hair, her stories of Mama's civil rights marches in Oakland giving me strength. "Your Mama fought for our place here. You hold that ground." Lena's distrust of Lauren grew when the woman hinted Nathan should streamline her visits for family focus. "She's no family," Lena whispered, her eyes blazing, and I added to my box, "Lauren's scared of Grandma." Lauren's erasure went beyond our home. I noticed Mama's theater awards, once displayed at the Oakland Public Library, were gone, replaced by generic art. "Donated to storage," Lauren told Nathan when I asked, but I saw her smug look, like she'd won a round. I started photographing every change, my phone filling with proof, and shared them with Ms. Tanya at the theater workshop. She frowned, saying, "Jada's plays were Oakland's soul. Someone's trying to dim that light." The workshop became my fight, where I memorized Mama's lines and helped kids act them out, feeling like I was keeping her alive. But Lauren's influence spread. She convinced Nathan to hire a new lawyer, Edward Klein, to manage Jada's estate, replacing Mama's friend, Mess. Carla Jones, who was suddenly on leave. I overheard Lauren on the phone one night, her voice low, "Klein's on board. The will's being redrafted." My heart raced, and I wrote, "She's changing Mama's will," remembering the folder she'd tapped that first night. I told Lena, who promised to dig into Lauren's role at Nathan's startup, where she'd pushed out black coders Mama hired. My nightmares grew vivid, Mama's stage dark, her scripts burning. I woke sweating, checking my photos to ensure Mama's memory was safe. At the mural club, I painted Mama's words, "Truth is our stage," into the design, and Ms. Amara hugged me, saying, "You're Jada's legacy, Khalil." But fear not at me, Lauren's eyes followed me now, like at the workshop when she dropped by to support Nathan, her smile tight when she saw me reciting Mama's lines. I knew she suspected me, and Nathan's trust in her scared me more. He looked tired, distracted, agreeing to Lauren's ideas without question, like when she suggested selling Mama's scripts to a bigger platform. "It's what Jada would want," Lauren said, but I saw her greed, the same greed that dismissed Mama's plays as unmarketable until they won awards. I added to my box, sketching Lauren's face at that moment, her eyes hungry. The theater workshop gave me a new idea. I started recording our rehearsals, planning to share Mama's words on X, where Oakland folks posted about saving black culture. It was risky, but Mama's voice deserved to be heard, not locked away by Lauren. Lena, Ms. Amara, Ms. Tanya, they believed in me, and their faith was my shield. But Lauren's mask was slipping, her control tightening, and I felt the clock ticking. I whispered to my bracelet, "Mama, I'm fighting for you," knowing I was up against a woman who saw our legacy as a prize to steal, and I'd need every ounce of Mama's fire to stop her. October's chill swept through Oakland, and I felt the weight of Lauren Pierce's schemes pressing harder, like a storm cloud ready to burst. My fingers trembled as I held a tiny silver key I'd found tucked inside Mama's old playbill for Freedom's Echo, her handwritten note scrawled on the back, Bank of America, Box 517, West Oakland. Our story's safe. I was 9, too young for wills and legacies, but Mama, Jada Miles, the black playwright whose words lit up Oakland stages, had taught me to trust my gut, and it screamed that Lauren, the white venture capitalist circling our lives, was stealing more than Mama's scripts. She was after Mama's soul, the stories that made Fruitvale sing, and I couldn't let her win, not when folks at the Laney College flea market still whispered about me, a black kid with a tech CEO stepdad, Nathan Brooks, saying, "Khalil don't belong with him, too different." Those words stung, but Lauren's cold eyes, watching me like I was a threat, hurt worse. I clutched my braided bracelet, Mama's gift, and swore I'd protect her legacy, even if it meant facing a woman who saw our family as a prize to plunder. Lauren's grip on Nathan tightened. He looked worn, his laughter gone, his eyes foggy at breakfast, like he was lost in a script he didn't write. Lauren was always there, her voice smooth, urging him to sign papers for his startup, saying, "This is for growth, Nathan." But I noticed how she steered him away from Mama's vision, coding camps for Fruitvale kids, pushing projects for white investors 10 miles away in Silicon Valley. I snapped photos of her papers, left carelessly on our table, and sent them to Ms. Tanya Reed, Mama's theater director friend, who joined our fight. "These look like contracts for Jada's plays," Tanya texted back, her words heavy. "Lauren's selling them." My heart sank, remembering Mama's fight to keep her stories black-owned, how producers called them too local until awards rolled in. I wrote in my memory box, "She's stealing Mama's voice," and felt a fire ignite, Mama's courage pulsing through me. The key led me to Bank of America, a 3-mile walk from our apartment, where Grandma Lena took me, her ID proving she was Mama's mother. Inside the safe deposit box, I found Mama's true will, a flash drive, a leather journal, and copyright papers for her plays, worth $5 million now. The will named Nathan my guardian but gave Mama's scripts to a trust for black theater students, not the startup Lauren controlled. "There's a fake will out there," Lena whispered, her eyes blazing. "Lauren's behind it." The journal was Mama's heart. Notes on sabotaged funding, investors like Lauren blocking her work, and a final entry, written a week before her hit and run. Pierce met with my producer after hours. "She's after my copyrights. Confronting board tomorrow." That meeting never happened, and the timing chilled me. Was Mama's death no accident? I couldn't say it, but the question haunted me, like the gentrification pushing black families out of Fruitvale, erasing us one block at a time. MS. Amara Hayes, my art teacher, became my anchor at our mural club, where we painted Oakland's history. She started a new community archive project, collecting black stories for a digital library at the African American Museum. "Your Mama's plays belong here," Amara said, her voice fierce. I joined, scanning Mama's scripts, feeling like I was saving her from Lauren's claws. The archive was my weapon, a way to share Mama's words online, and I posted snippets on X, where Oaklanders rallied, posting, "Keep Jada's stories ours." The posts went viral, hitting 20,000 shares, and I felt hope, but Lauren's moves grew bolder. She announced Nathan's engagement to her at dinner, flashing a diamond ring 6 months after Mama's death. "We're building a future," she said, her eyes daring me to speak. She suggested I attend a gifted camp in Marin County, 15 miles north, to broaden your horizons, code for wider, farther from Mama's Oakland. I told Lena, who slammed her fist. "She's isolating you, Khalil," she said, her civil rights stories fueling my fight. Lauren's erasure spread. She convinced Nathan to donate Mama's theater props to a San Francisco museum, claiming, "They'll be preserved." But I saw her smirk, like she'd erased another piece of Mama. I recorded her at the theater workshop, where we rehearsed Freedom's Echo, and caught her telling Nathan, "Jada's plays need a bigger stage, not local nostalgia." Her words echoed the bias Mama faced, how her stories were too black until they made money. I shared the clip with Ms. Tanya, who uncovered emails from Lauren to Edward Klein, the new lawyer, about redrafting Jada's estate for Nathan's benefit. "She's forging the will," Tanya said, her voice tight. I added to my box, sketching Lauren's face, her greed bare. Nathan's health worried me. He forgot our Saturday hikes, his hands shaky, his voice slow. I noticed Lauren's herbal smoothies at breakfast, always when he got worse. I snuck a sample to Ms. Amara's friend, Dr. Jamal Carter, a black doctor Mama trusted. He tested it, texting, sedatives. Dangerous levels. My heart pounded. Lauren was poisoning Nathan to control him, like the way investors controlled Mama's funding, dismissing her work as risky. I told Lena, who dug into Lauren's startup role, finding she'd pushed out black coders, replacing them with her allies. She's a vulture, Lena said, her eyes fierce. The archive project grew, with kids adding their family's stories, and I felt Mama's spirit in every scan. At a community meeting at Lake Merritt, 2 miles away, 100 Oaklanders demanded Jada's plays stay local, inspired by my ex-posts. But Lauren was there, her smile tight, her eyes locking on me, like she knew I was behind it. She's on to me, I wrote, sketching her stare. My nightmares worsened, Mama's stage collapsing, her voice gone. I woke clutching my bracelet, checking my photos to keep her alive. Dar. Jamal uncovered hospital records showing Lauren accessed Mama's funding files before her death, a breach logged 2 days prior. The timing burned, had Lauren planned it all? Lauren's next move was cruel. She brought a counselor, Ms. Ellen Shaw, to our home, saying, Khalil's struggling with grief. Ellen suggested I needed specialized care away from Oakland, hinting at a facility. Fear gripped me, but Lena intervened, her voice steel, my grandson's staying with family. The threat lingered, like the dismissal of black kids' voices at school, where teachers ignored our ideas but praised white classmates. I posted on X, who gets to tell our truth, and got 50,000 views, Oakland rallying behind me. But Nathan, foggy and distant, believed Lauren, saying, she's helping us, Khalil. His words broke me, but I felt Mama's fire, Lauren wouldn't win. The archive's launch was set for November, and I planned to reveal Mama's true will there, with Lena, Amara, and Tanya. But Lauren's eyes followed me, her engagement ring flashing like a warning. I whispered to my bracelet, Mama, I'm close, knowing I was racing a woman who'd stop at nothing to steal our story, and I'd need every ally, every ounce of truth, to bring her down. November's frost bit at my fingers as I stood in Oakland's Defremery Park, my breath fogging in the 45 degrees Fahrenheit air, surrounded by 300 people holding signs that read, Justice for Jada Miles. My heart pounded like the drums at Mama's theater openings, because tonight was our protest march, a plan I'd sparked to save Mama's legacy from Lauren Pierce's claws. Lauren, the white venture capitalist who'd slithered into our lives, was hours away from marrying my stepdad, Nathan Brooks, in his hospital room, where he lay weak and confused, her smoothies poisoning him to sign away Mama's plays. I was 9, too small for this fight, but Mama, Jada Miles, the black playwright whose stories lit up Oakland, had taught me that truth was a stage, and I was ready to perform, even if Lauren's green eyes, sharp as broken glass, haunted me, like the whispers in Fruitvale that said a black kid like me didn't belong with a tech CEO stepdad, their words cutting deeper than the gentrification tearing our neighborhood apart. I gripped my braided bracelet, Mama's gift, and felt her fire, knowing I had to expose Lauren's forged will and save Nathan before she erased us completely. Lauren's schemes had accelerated. She'd moved the wedding to next week, flashing her diamond ring at Nathan's hospital bed, saying, life's too short to wait. She'd enrolled me in a gifted camp in Santa Clara, 40 miles south, starting post-wedding, her voice sweet but her eyes cold, it's for your future, Khalil. I knew it was exile, a way to silence me, like the tech investors who dismissed Mama's plays as unprofitable, until they won awards worth $7 million. Nathan's health crumbled. He forgot my birthday, his hands trembling, his speech slurred, and I'd given Dr. Jamal Carter, Mama's doctor friend, more samples of Lauren's smoothies, which tested positive for sedatives and antipsychotics. She's drugging him to control the startup and Jada's estate, Jamal said, his voice grim. I posted on X from our community archive project, asking, who profits when black stories vanish? The post hit 100,000 shares, Oaklanders rallying, but Lauren's allies. Her lawyer, Edward Klein, and startup board members, called it a child's tantrum. I wrote in my memory box, she's winning, but refused to break, sketching Lauren's smirk, her greed a mirror of the bias that sidelined Mama's work. The protest march was my boldest move. Ms. Amara Hayes, my art teacher, helped organize it, her mural club painting banners with Mama's words, "Truth is our stage." Ms. Tanya Reed, Mama's theater director, led chants, her voice booming like Mama's, while Grandma Lena marched beside me, her civil rights scars giving me courage. We started at Defremery, 2 miles from Nathan's hospital, our signs glowing under streetlights, and I recorded it for the archive, whispering, "This is for you, Mama." The march drew 500 by the time we reached downtown, X posts with hashtag Save Jada's Legacy trending, but Lauren countered, leaking to a local news site that I was troubled, my grief fueling delusions. Her words stung, like the school counselor who ignored my ideas but praised white kids, and I felt the weight of being dismissed as a black boy, my truth labeled a lie. Lena, Amara, and Tanya plan to crash the startup's board meeting tomorrow, 5 miles away in Jack London Square, where Lauren aimed to sell Mama's copyrights. I clutched the safe deposit box evidence, Mama's true will, journal, and copyrights, knowing it could stop her. The journal's last entry, "Pierce wants my plays." Board meeting set, burned in my mind, hinting Mama's hit and run wasn't random. At the march, I spoke through a megaphone, my voice shaking. My Mama's plays belong to Oakland, not Lauren Pierce. The crowd roared, but Klein, at the edge, scoffed, "A kid's fantasy won't change contracts." His dismissal echoed the racism Mama faced, her work called niche by white producers, and I posted his words on X, earning 200,000 views. Lauren's retaliation was swift. She sent a psychologist, Dr. Sarah Vance, to our apartment, claiming, Khalil needs evaluation for his outbursts. Vance's eyes were cold, suggesting a therapeutic retreat in Sacramento, 80 miles away, and I froze, fearing they'd lock me up, like the black kids at school disciplined harsher than others. Lena stepped in, her voice steel, "My grandson's staying here." But the threat lingered, a knot in my chest. The march ended at City Hall, 1 mile from the hospital, with gospel singers from Mama's church lifting our spirits. I uploaded a video, Oakland's Truth, to X, hitting 300,000 views, but Nathan's words at his last visit broke me, "Lauren's helping us, Khalil. Stop fighting her." His foggy eyes, poisoned by Lauren, felt like betrayal, and I cried alone, clutching my bracelet, whispering, "Mama, he doesn't see." Dr. Jamal uncovered more. Hospital logs showed Lauren accessed Nathan's medical records, altering his treatment plan. "She's keeping him weak," Jamal said, and Lena found Lauren had fired Mama's black coders, replacing them with her allies, a pattern of erasing black voices, like the gentrified blocks in West Oakland losing their soul. I slipped into Lauren's office at Nathan's startup, 3 miles away, finding emails to a Hollywood producer about Mama's plays, priced at $10 million, with Klein's note, "New will secures Pierce's control." My heart raced. Security nearly caught me, my sneakers squeaking on the 200-foot hallway. I told Tanya, who connected with a journalist, Ms. Nia Coleman, whose X posts about Mama's legacy went viral, hitting 500,000 shares. But Lauren's power grew. She convinced Nathan to sign a new startup policy, giving her voting rights, and I saw her at the hospital, adjusting his her face triumphant until a nurse interrupted. I recorded it, hands shaking, and posted it anonymously, earning 1 million views, but Klein filed to suppress it, citing privacy. My hope flickered. Lauren was untouchable, her wedding looming. The board meeting was our last chance. Amara's archive project launched a petition, 10,000 signatures demanding Mama's plays stay in Oakland, and Tanya's theater workshop rehearsed Freedom's Echo for a vigil tonight, 1 mile from the hospital, to pressure the board. But Lauren's desperation showed. She called me to Nathan's room, her voice syrupy. "Khalil, stop these lies, or Nathan will suffer." Her threat, veiled as concern, mirrored the dismissal of black voices in boardrooms, and I felt Mama's fire flare. I told Lena, who uncovered Lauren's past, she'd tanked black startups in Seattle, profiting from their failure, her racism cloaked in business sense. "She's a predator," Lena said, her eyes fierce. The vigil drew 1,000, their candles a sea of light, and I spoke, voice steady. "My mama's stories are Oakland's heart. Lauren can't steal that." X exploded, but Lauren's eyes, watching from the crowd, chilled me. She knew I was the spark. Nathan's latest test results, from Jamal, showed worsening poison levels, and I feared we were too late. I whispered to my bracelet, "Mama, help me finish this," knowing tomorrow's board meeting was our final stage, and Lauren would fight dirty to keep her prize, but I'd risk everything to save our legacy. December's light broke through Oakland's morning fog, and I stood in the hospital corridor, my heart thumping like the beat of Mama's theater drums, knowing Lauren Pierce's wedding to my stepdad, Nathan Brooks, was moments away in his room, where he lay weak, her poisoned smoothies clouding his mind. I was 9, my braided bracelet, Mama's gift, warm against my wrist, and I felt Jada Miles, my black playwright mother whose stories lit up Oakland stages, urging me to end this fight. Lauren, the white venture capitalist who'd wormed into our lives, had forged Mama's will, drugged Nathan, and tried to ship me off to silence my truth, but our vigil's 1,000 candles and X posts with 1 million views had Oakland's spirit behind me. I'd faced Fruitvale's whispers, folks saying a black kid like me didn't belong with a tech CEO stepdad, their racism echoing Lauren's belief that Mama's $10 million plays were better off in white hands, but I'd vowed to protect our legacy, and today, I'd tear down Lauren's lies, no matter how her green eyes flashed like she'd already claimed victory. The hospital hummed with urgency, staff murmuring about Lauren's bedside ceremony, her cream dress a cruel act. I gripped Mama's true will, journal, and copyrights from the safe deposit box, my memory box stuffed with evidence, photos, recordings, X-posts, proving Lauren's forgery and poisoning to seize Nathan's startup and Mama's estate. Ms. Carla Jones, Mama's lawyer, back from her forced leave thanks to Ms. Nia Coleman's viral X-posts, charged in with 2 board members and a detective, her voice sharp, "Halt this sham." I trailed them, sneakers squeaking on the 100-foot hallway, as they burst into Nathan's room, catching Lauren tampering with his her face shifting from smug to cornered. The detective, clutching my toxicology reports from Dr. Jamal Carter, arrested Lauren for fraud, forgery, and poisoning, while her lawyer, Edward Klein, faltered, his fake contracts exposed. Lauren's shout, "A child's lies won't stand," mirrored the dismissal of black voices, like my school ignoring my ideas while lifting white kids, but Carla waived Mama's will, naming Nathan my guardian and Mama's plays a trust for black theater students, shattering Lauren's scheme. I met Lauren's glare, my voice steady, Mama's truth won. Nathan recovered, the sedatives fading, and in a quiet room, he hugged me, his eyes clear. "Khalil, you saved us," he whispered, tears falling, and I sobbed, our bond mending after months of his fogged trust in Lauren. The hospital board, shamed by Nia's articles and 2 million X views, protected Mama's copyrights, funding a Jada Miles Foundation for black artists with her $10 million estate. I spoke at the board meeting, 3 miles from Fruitvale, my voice firm, Mama's plays are Oakland's heart. They stay ours. Applause erupted, X calling me, Fruitvale's truth keeper, but I knew it was Lena, Amara, Tanya, Jamal, Nia, and Oakland's fight, like Mama's plays taught us to resist erasure. I became the foundation's junior ambassador, launching a legacy festival at Lake Merritt, 2 miles away, to honor black stories. In January, 5,000 Oaklanders gathered, gospel choirs soaring, poets reciting Mama's words, and my theater workshop kids staging Freedom's Echo on a stage ablaze with Mama's light. I ran a booth for my Story Keepers program, teaching 500 kids to archive family histories, a shield against erasure, like the gentrification-threatening Fruitvale's black soul. Our stories are our power, I told a boy my age, his nod echoing Mama's fire. Ms. Amara's mural, now a city landmark, shone with Mama's face, and Ms. Tanya's theater troupe toured Mama's plays, earning ovations. Lena, a foundation board member, hosted Sunday dinners, her okra stew warm, her civil rights tales inspiring. Dr. Jamal led a health equity program, training black doctors with Mama's royalties, and Nia's journalism triggered a city investigation into Lauren's scams, revealing her Seattle plots against black businesses. Lauren's trial exposed her racism, court papers showed she targeted black legacies, believing they were unprofitable, her greed cloaked in business savvy. Her fall was Oakland's victory, but scars remained, Nathan's guilt, my fear of losing Mama's memory. We sold our apartment, heavy with pain, and moved to a bright home near Lake Merritt, its walls alive with Mama's playbills. At the festival, I spoke, voice bold, Mama's truth is our stage. We're all storytellers now. X hit 5 million views, Oakland's love like Mama's embrace. I visited her grave at Mountain View Cemetery, 4 miles away, placing a festival program by her headstone, whispering, "We kept your fire, Mama." Nathan stood beside me, his arm around me. She's proud, Khalil. So am I. I smiled, my bracelet warm. We saved each other, Dad. Looking back, I see a kid scared but fierce, learning that truth needs allies, not just courage. Mama's bracelet taught me our ancestors' strength, Lena's stories showed me resistance, Amara's mural gave me voice, Tanya's stage gave me purpose, Jamal's science gave me proof, and Nia's pen gave me reach. Racism tried to dim us, Lauren's lies, Fruitvale's whispers, school's biases, but community was our light. I learned a kid's voice, black and bold, can shake giants, but only with others lifting you. If you were in my shoes, with your own personality and role, your own drive to protect what's yours, how would you face a fight like this to win? I posted on X, Our Truth Endures, with 10 million views, a call for those battling their own Laurens, knowing Oakland's stage, our stage, was forever ours.